like Kyren Williams is a dog. I just for how excited Sean McVay was for Jarquez Hunter, who I love because every Saturday I'm watching SEC or Big Ten. So I watched a lot of Auburn this year. Like Jarquez Hunter is a stud, man. Like he really is. Like he's a freak. There's something special about him, man. And I'm not saying he's going to take Kyron's job, but I could easily see him getting some work this year in volume. And it's like, hey, like, if Kyron was to get hurt, I think Jarquez would be the guy over Blake Corum because I like Blake Corum coming out, and this is why I have a lot of conviction in Jarquez. Uh, Jarquez is the better player. Like without like you could take that to the bank. Like he's the better running back. He would be more productive in McVay's system if anything happened to Kyron. So yeah, I'm with you there. Like give me these handcuffs that could give you some spike weeks if there's an
Well,
injury or something
especially
happens.
Jarquez. I mean, you talk about his explosiveness. I mean, like if he does, maybe he pops one or two, right, and gives you a decent game.
Oh yeah.
What's the sense of urgency? And Ernie, I get what you're saying. You're saying kind of in case of, in case something happens, which I totally get. It's always good to be proactive, but there is that sentiment amongst the fantasy football community is like, Kyren Williams, let's get him out of there. Like they want to get him out there last year. They want to get him out of there this year. I think whether he gets a contract extension or not will be the big play here. But like to me, and I'll pull up some of the info later, or I'll start publishing it more. But I was looking at red zone attempts, just total attempts. Kyren Williams led the field by a pretty good margin in terms of running backs, in terms of in the red zone.
Sure.
Like I don't think he's going anywhere, and I just think it's one of those scenarios in which fantasy football community is trying to wish Kyren Williams away, which is kind of weird because he's still young, but they're trying to wish him away, and I just think it's kind of a waste of time. I mean, if he doesn't get the extension, then by all means, go at it. But this year, Kyren Williams is leading this backfield.
He is.
Kyren Williams will have a ton of more points and a ton of more attempts and a ton of more opportunity than any running back behind him on that backfield. It's not even a question.
Well, and let's be honest though, Kyron's like people are concerned and they might say, well, he might not go away, but he's not going to get the same, opportunities that he got last year. But
why wouldn't he though?
Well, because they're assuming that his workload's going to be eaten into. But
why?
Why? Because they think that he's not as explosive, and I'm with you. I'm not sitting here arguing. But my thing is,
I'm just annoyed.
No, I know, but I also Kyren Williams is RB12 right now. RB12. He last season was RB7, right? He was 17 points per game, which was good enough for 10th. Year before that was 21.3 points per game. That was good enough for second in the NFL, right? Like his RB12 cost is baked in to the fact that people are concerned that he will lose touches. So even if he does lose touches and those people are correct, I don't see a world unless he's injured that he doesn't finish 12th. Like I feel like that's his floor, in my opinion, if he is healthy. I don't see even if those guys take opportunities from him. Like the only other argument I could understand is maybe Devontae Adams can take some of those touchdowns away because he is a red zone threat, and they did add it Terrence Ferguson. So maybe there's some regression. He had 16 touchdowns last year, 15 touchdowns the year before. Maybe that's also part of why people have him at where he is right now, which is 12th overall. But I'm with you. And I know, Ernie, you wanted to share something, so I'll let you take the floor.
Yeah, no. I get both sides of this. Like, I get what Mike's saying. And it's like, this is like one of the more interesting situations. And there's like, I get why Mike feels the way he does. But then the other side of it is this, like, because you have Kyren Williams is a monster. Like, he's a good player. He's on a good team in a really good role. Like, he's going to eat. Like, that doesn't surprise me that he had all those red zone attempts you were saying, Mike. But what I think everybody is like, why the vultures are circling is because, like, you look at his RAS score, it's not that high, right? There's a lot of his profiles where he's kind of underwhelming. He's a little undersized, right? And there's a lot of tread on his tires. So it's like, I think why they're not forcing him out, they're just trying to be ahead of the 8 ball when it's like, I don't know if the Rams are going to pay him. I think they're one of those smarter teams that aren't going to try to pay a running back. And they think, oh, well, because my system's great, I could put any running back in here and they could do the same thing Kyren's doing. I think that's why people, I guess, are trying to find that replacement because they think it's inevitably coming. Now, they could sign him next year, right, to like a 3-4 year deal. And like, I wouldn't be shocked. I'm leaning towards, though, that they don't re-sign him. Like, I like Jarquez more for Dynasty. This year, he's solely a handcuff because I don't think anything is going to change. I just think, if anything, if they want to bring in another back to, be a change of pace to Kyren because they are running him to death, Jarquez is definitely the guy. Like, Jarquez could be, the Ahmad Bradshaw to his Jacobs almost. You know what I'm saying? So that I think that's what the fantasy community is looking at. They're not saying like Kyren Williams sucks.
No, they are.
No, they are. And this is the problem. Is the problem with? And listen, I am in the fantasy football community, but this is the problem. Is we overthink everything. It's like, oh well, this score is not great, and this is not great. Have you seen his hands? His hands aren't good either. Like, but he's produced the last 2 years. He's been one of the better fantasy football running backs the last 2 years.
You don't think that fumble though?
Brock Purdy's hand size,
dude.
Look at his points on a per game basis the last 2 years.
He had a big fumble in that playoff game. He had a big fumble
in the playoff game. It doesn't matter for fantasy.
Bro, he cost him the Super Bowl. Like,
I don't give a shit about that. If I'm playing fantasy, I don't give a shit that he cost him the Super Bowl.
No,
if I'm a Rams fan, if I'm a Rams fan, I want to have a word.
Well, that's almost why people don't want Mark Andrews because he dropped that pass.
Hold on, hold on, Mike.
Meanwhile, Mark Andrews, one of the better fantasy football tight ends last year.
He had 11 touchdowns.
You never know it. From week one, bookended. From week one to dropping the playoff touchdown pass, Mark Andrews stunk.
Dude, but
if you look at the year itself, everywhere in between week one and the last week, one of the better fantasy football tight ends. What are we talking about?
All right. I'm not going to come at Kyren. I'm not coming at Kyren anymore. I'm not coming at your son.
Yeah, no, you don't want that smoke.
No.
I'm sorry, man. I love you, but you don't want that smoke.
No.
Ernie, the only thing I would say, look, I think there's some regression possibly coming from Kyren. I think that's what people are worried about. Red zone touches, he was number 1 in the NFL with 77 last year. Snap share, he was number 1. Opportunity share, he was number 2. Weighted opportunities, number 5. I know Koff will sit there and be like, I don't care about all these fucking statistics and stuff, but those aren't red zone touches, right? That's not like an advanced metric. Like
that's
those I care about, though. Those matter. Those are points, man.
Right, but I know, but I'm saying they add Devontae Adams, right? They add Terrence Ferguson. Like, maybe there is some regression. I mean, Devontae Adams is going to score in the red zone, and Cooper Kupp and Puka were also injured, and both of them only played a max of 12 games last year. So they were hurting for options in the red zone, and Tyler Higbee wasn't back until the end of the year. So again, maybe that was why Kyren scored as much as he did. But again, I'm in on Kyren, so I get it. I can see both sides of it, but I think people are trying to like last year it was Blake Corum. This year it's Jarquez Hunter's taking his job. A clock is right twice a day, a broken clock, right? Like, it's until people could keep saying it, and then Kyren will walk next year. They won't extend him, and people will say, "See, we were right." That they don't love Kyren. That's why I was saying XYZ. And people will just forget that they said, well, last year you said Blake Corum was taking his job. This year you're saying Jarquez Hunter's taking his job by halfway through the year. And then now it's, oh, well, he walked, didn't get extended. So that's really what it is. I think people don't like Kyren, and they're trying to cling on anything, right? Like, to discredit him, and that's where I think the frustration comes.
Dude, that's like all over the football community, because you have like the same people that will be like, oh, Daniel Jones is terrible. We're like, oh, give me Dwayne Haskins. Oh, give me Malik Willis. You know what I mean? And it's like, so we're just gonna discredit all the times you were wrong. You know what I mean? But it's like, okay, if I came to you last year and I was like, Brian Thomas is going to be better than Christian Kirk, and Bucky Irving is going to be better than Rachaad White, would you guys call me crazy? Or would you say, oh, that's absolutely going to happen?
Well, I did say that I was in on Bucky last year.
I know you were. I was in on BTJ, so I get
Yeah.
it. I'm
Yeah.
just using it as an example. Like obviously, if I came to you, Mike, and I was like, Bucky
Yeah.
Irving, his profile is a threat to Rashad White. You know,
Sure.
you're gonna
Sure.
say, dude, no, like Rashad's a monster. Like he just had an awesome year,
Yeah, I might have
right?
said that
And
last
then
year.
and then
Sure.
this happens, right? I think
Yeah,
that's what people are getting at, where it's like the possibility, like people want to try to find that deep sleeper and try to be ahead of the 8 ball. And I think that's what's going on with the Rams. Because
And
like
look,
And
there's
and-
no yeah. I have Jarquez in a lot of rookie drafts. I'll take, you know what I mean. But that's just hedging, right?
and that's
you know,
that's fine. Listen, that's fine. I get it. I mean, there's more than one scenario in which somebody could say, "Hey, this rookie, or even not even a rookie, this second-year player is going to outproduce this guy, or he's going to emerge." And in some cases, that unequivocally turns out to be true. And a lot of people do wake up with egg on their face, for sure. But to me, they're just waiting for Kyren Williams to fail too much, in my opinion. And Kyren Williams, one of 5 running backs to have at least 3 games, I'm sorry, with 7 or more touches in the red zone. There's not many. He's getting the opportunity in the red zone. There's no reason why
good
that's
offense.
going to discontinue. All right,
Yeah.
the offense is going to be great. And I'm a Niner fan, and I'm still telling you, I think the Rams win the West. I mean, so I think Kyron's still going to get plenty of touches. I will say Sean McVay after this year will have no problem throwing Kyron out the door and then making someone else the guy. That'll be
who do you think that guy's going to be? Hold on. Who do you think that guy's going to be?
I don't know.
If you had to pick one right now, Blake or Jarquez, who would you pick?
If I had to pick somebody right now, I'd pick Jarquez. But
Okay,
they could just as easily.
So he's the handcuff.
Shiny toy next year that everybody would go, ooh, that's the guy. Jarquez could get the hell out of Dodge.
No, I get it. I'm just saying
that's what happens.
That's why he's an awesome dynasty pick, though, because I think that's what I'm more excited about his dynasty profile, because it's like what you said I think is going to happen, where it's like Kyron's the guy this year. They are not going to pay him, and Jarquez is better than Blake. So it's like he is an awesome dynasty get. But also, like you just spelled out, like if anything happens to Kyren Williams, Jarquez is going to enter an awesome role where he's getting a ton of red zone touches in a good offense. So, like, dude, like, that's a really good hedge to like. You know what I mean? Like, I like Jarquez there, really.
And Debro saying, some of the stuff being inefficient as a runner is, for Kyron, and that might be true. And that's not to say that another running back will come in the next year and be like, God, he's so much more efficient. He's so much more better than what Kyron was. And that could well be true. 1,000%. I just think in this particular terms, Kyron's getting the bulk of the touches this year for the Rams backfield. We will not see a scenario at the end of the year where all of a sudden.
So you don't think there could even be a split?
Touches.
You don't think there's even the world where there could be a 1-2 punch?
I think
that's dangerous, dude. He's good, man. You're on, dude. I'm telling you, you're underrating him heavy.
I just said it. That just happened. Listen, we're gonna close this out because we got to go over the rosters. Debro said Corum was a bad prospect,
but I agree with him, because hold on. Here's a point about Blake Corum. His own college football coach passed on him, and the Chargers had no running back last year. I just think the Rams are a smart team. Hold on, dude. They're a smart team in the sense where you see a lot of teams like they'll draft a player, and because they drafted him high, they're not going to admit he stinks and get a good replacement. The Rams are like, oh, dude, like we missed. Let's get a good backup for Kyron in case anything happens. And I think that's what they're doing with Jarquez. He's a good insurance policy, but there's the upside for more because I think his profile screams that he could be the better player. Like I am really in on Jarquez, especially Dynasty. His Dynasty outlook is awesome to me. But Kyron's a stud. He's going to obviously put up a lot of fantasy points.
Let's read off let's re-off our rosters. I will say
before
Debro's
you
fair
have a
saying
heart
Kyren.
attack.
No. I will just say Debro's fair in saying Kyren fumbles early and often. He does, but we'll see where
Dude,
that goes.
how come when I said he fumbles in the NFC Championship game, you shoo me away?
No, well, I shut you away on that because it's not a stat that matters in the regular season, which is where fantasy football matters.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
but
it's not. But it's if there's a fumbling problem,
Well,
coaches are going to be like, "Wow, we
podcasting-
might need to get a running back that doesn't fumble."
Podcasting lesson, Ernie. Next time, tell me he fumbled in week 4, not the NFC Championship. I love you, buddy. But there you go.
I love you too, man. I love you too. This is fun. Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah, this is awesome.
All right.
Appreciate it.